And welcome back everybody to another episode of All the Mods 10. I'm your host, Undisturbed Potato, and today we are going over a couple more recipes for the All the Mods star, and if time permits, we will take a little dive into Create and PneumaticCraft, maybe mainly Create, just because that setup is more familiar to me, just because I have used the mod for quite a while. But the recipe that we are going over today is this guy, the aerial interface. We are going to want to be able to make these guys because it is used in the All the Mods star to help make this device. So to get into it, we are going to need a couple pressure chamber walls, which is pretty simple. It's just reinforced bricks, which is just reinforced stone, which can be made with some compressed iron and some of the stone. So the easiest way to get through all this is to find yourself a village that does have one of these mechanics, which stem from, as you can see, that charging station. So if you get into easy villagers, you could always just throw a few charging stations in, throw a few villagers, level them up, and you'll have access to quite a lot of the early game resources that you will need. As you can see, you can buy some compressed iron for 7 to 9 emeralds. I think 7 is the lowest that you could get naturally, and the highest I think I've seen was like 14 per block. But yeah, if you aren't using a mechanic to get that iron, you could always just grab some iron, throw it on the ground, put a piece of TNT next to it, blow it up, and that'll convert all the iron into compressed iron. Well, you are going to have some losses, roughly 20%. So that's roughly what, 12 iron that you'll lose from a stack, which isn't that bad, especially if you're playing a game where you could get resources like crazy. It doesn't really matter. And if you use the Oratech setup, I think, what did we say? We get 36 iron from 1 ore. So just use 2 ores, and then just like that, you have a ton of iron. So yeah, besides needing these pressure chamber walls, we are going to need this directional hopper, which is just some compressed iron. Also very easy, very obtainable. The only slight harder part is getting this advanced pressure tubes. That is because to make it, you are going to need a small little setup, one of these programming lasers, and either these pressure chamber valves to turn into this, or a block of compressed iron. So I am going to see what I do need to make to get these guys up and running, which looks like these finished PCBs. So I'm gonna take a quick look at the wiki real quick to see if I do need to craft these guys, or if there's a slight chance that we could actually get it from these guys, because I do know they could give you these PCB blueprints and quite a bit of these resources. Not to mention, they give us one of these guys, which we really do need. These are the micro missiles. I don't know if you guys remember us talking about them, but the reason why we do need these guys is because they are used for the pulsating black hole, which is pretty cool since we could just buy them, and they're relatively cheap, or can be. As you saw, the last one was 20, but if we come take a quick look at some of these guys, I think it's this guy. Yeah, he charges 34 per, so it's a little pricier, but it's pretty easy to get a few, especially since if you get a few of these guys leveled up, you just buy a ton, and just like that, you'll have your micro missiles, which now I have enough for all 18 stars and some. And these guys are pretty cool because you hold shift and press right click. You can actually configure how these guys go. So if you wanted to do more damage, you just click and drag this guy down. If you wanted to be able to maneuver quickly, so let's say you're fighting an enemy that can move pretty quickly, you just click and drag this way and it'll be able to change directions. If you just want this guy to be supersonic, you could just drag it up here and this guy will fly incredibly quickly. But yeah, you could always just mess around with this, figure out or configure what you want it to do. It's pretty fun when you experiment. And then if you come over here, you could also just click to dumb mode, which will just send the rocket straight forward at a decent speed. It will not change directions, and it does pretty good damage. So if you just want to have some fun, this guy is pretty cool, to say the least. So yeah, some of the things that I did do offline was set up a couple more bees. So if we take a quick look over here, these guys moved in on their own. I did not put them there. But if you take a look right here, we do have some arcane bee or essence bees. So if I put arcane real quick, you can see that we do need to create the essence spawn egg, just because if you click on it, it does not tell you how to make it. So to make this spawn egg is relatively simple. You just need 8 of these essences and 1 diamond bee, which, if you guys remember, we set up a little diamond bee thing a while back. I have tons of them, and all you have to do is get enough genes from it to get 100%. Combine that gene sample with a honey treat, put it with an egg, and then you get this guy. So I made 2 of them, crafted this guy up, and just like that, if we press U on him real quick, we could take a quick look at what he produces. So this guy has 100% chance of getting these arcane essence combs, which is pretty cool, but the best part about it is the 15% chance of getting these rune stones, which are very helpful. Ooh, I might need this, not too sure just yet. But yeah, if you do put this in the centrifuge, it will turn it into wax, honey, and arcane essence, just so you guys know. But the other reason why we do need these blank rune stones is because we do need this upgrade, which is also for this guy. So if you take a quick look, as you can see, we're gonna need a couple of these guys, and if you click on it again, these guys are made from these lightning, or yeah, basically bottle of lightnings. So bottle of lightning, how do we get that? That's basically just having an empty glass bottle and right clicking a charged creeper, which in this version it should be pretty easy, just because we do have multiple ways of capturing a creeper and or setting a creeper spawner. All you have to do is find a way to get it struck by lightning. You have a variety of ways, whether it's with a trident or using a charged rod. You can just charge them up and then just right click it with an empty bottle, and just like that you'll have these empty bottles. You have the runes, you combine it, you get these lightning runes, and then you just surround one of these guys, which you just need some cinder essence, which we get from the ancient knights from the nether. If you guys remember, we captured a few of those guys, so we have been building up a stack or multiple stacks of this. And then we are also going to need some mithril, so mining will definitely come in handy. And then you also need some arcane ingots, which is pretty simple. You could use either of those 3 materials surrounded by some essence, and just like that you have everything needed. This mithril is made by having 4 scraps, which you are going to need raw mithril, which you gotta mine. But if you are using this guy, you could get 4 from it. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I've found any just yet. Might need to take a quick look, but as you saw earlier, it might be better to just get this mithril bee so that you can produce that whenever you need it, rather than having to go around mining and finding it. Alright, besides those 2 guys, I did set up a emerald bee farm, just because we are going to need a ton of emeralds, diamonds, obsidian, and all that to make one of the other Allthemod seeds or components. If we take a quick look, yep, as you can see, we are going to need a 4 times compressed diamond block, and we are going to need 18 of them. So that's going to be a ton of material, because it's going to be needed for this dimensional seed. So as you can take a quick look here, we are also going to need tons of emeralds. So that's going to be something that I'll be working on. Yeah, besides that, I did add one of these rune bees, a dark gem bee, and arcanus bee. So we took a quick look. To get the arcanus bee is just arcane crystal block fed to a diamond bee, and then we get this guy. He produces these guys. If we take a quick look, you just press U and U again, and then you can just see what he produces. The rune one produces runes. This guy produces the dark gems from Evilcraft. And then over here, these arcane bees are slightly different from the arcane essence bees. These guys are the bees for Ars Nouveau. These guys produce the source gems. So instead of having to put them in an imbuement chamber, they'll automatically get crafted or made into a gem by itself. And as you can see, we already have 16k, which I think is the max that I have set for that drawer. So if I ever need these guys, we have a ton of them. Not to mention I've been collecting source over time, so have a ton of that. And yeah, I think that is everything that I've done offline. Yeah, just a quick tip or a quick note. I don't know if you guys saw last episode, I did mention the mansion that we are building, whether we are going to keep the tower or not. Well, today I am going to be recording this and uploading it, and it is what, Wednesday? So Thursday afternoon I'll be checking the comments, and if I don't see anybody saying anything regarding the mansion, I think I am going to remove the tower and just replicate this design one more and add a nice little glass window somewhat resembling this one through the center, and then continue with the build. So if you guys do want me to keep this little circular tower within the build, let me know down in the comments. Alright guys, and I am back. I did do some testing just because I wanted to see if I could craft these PCBs rather quickly. However, it did take a little too long trying to get this done, so instead I decided to just keep messing around with these traders, because apparently you can get the finished PCB. It just took me, you know, just 7 of these guys just for one of them to be able to sell it to me, and then he's not so happy, so he is giving it to me at a premium of 32 emeralds per. That is how I got those PCBs that you saw earlier, which I'm pretty sure you need 9 of them. So as soon as you get 9 of them, what you do have to do is come over here and craft each of these assemblies. They aren't too hard to craft, I believe. If we come over here and go assembly, and then we click on them, you can see how it just requires some compressed steel, a few of these pressure tubes, which if you buy from those guys, you'll have a ton of. The only limiting factor would be the finished PCBs. So that's 3 right there. Another one for this guy. Another one here. Another one there. Another one here. And then another one right here. So as soon as you make all those, you should have basically everything else at this point. All you have to do is place them all down. I did not put them in any order, I just placed them. For the import, you are going to want a chest here. For the export, you're going to want the chest on one of the sides. And then to finish this guy off, what you are going to want to do is put down an air compressor, connect this guy to the controller, and then what I like to do is put a security upgrade just so that if I do get a lot of power being sent over, it does not go into the red and explode. It saves us from that. The reason why you are not hearing any error is because I did come over here to this screen and I did put in PN for PneumaticCraft, and I did disable the leaking gas just because it is a little bit loud. But yeah, just like that, we are slowly building up the pressure, which if we come over here, you can see how it's equaled out. I did grab one of these programs, and the way you do that is by making this Avidron tablet, which if you take a quick look, I guess you cannot check it out. So if we look over here, it's just some plastic and some air canisters, which you probably found a few of these in chests and or bought it from the villagers as you're leveling them up. And then you're going to need the GPS tool, which is also pretty simple. It's just some plastic, glass pane, a diamond, and a redstone torch. So making this guy is very easy. The next step you are going to want to do after that is put some pressure inside of him. So to do that, just grab some air compressors, light them ablaze. I do recommend using time 1 to tick accelerate them. It'll increase the pressure really fast. The more pressure you have in this, the better. So it allows you to have plenty of time to use the in-game shop. But yeah, you are going to want to put this Avidron tablet inside of the charging station to get some pressure in it. And then what I do recommend is shift right clicking a chest and throwing some emeralds in there. That'll allow the tablet to know that you do have emeralds available, because the drones that come deliver your items will be taking the emeralds from here and delivering whatever items you requested into the chest. So if you're wondering why you can't buy anything, make sure you do have an inventory selected and you have a form of payment inside of it. You do not have to make any drones, which is pretty cool. So you could always just come over here. Let's say I want this guy. I have no clue what this does. You just right click it and it adds 1. Then you click on place order. The drone's going to come over here. It's going to take my emeralds and then it'll return my item. As you can see, he's here. You grab some emeralds from here and in a little bit, it'll return with our item. Yeah, that's how you could get the assembly program that we are going to need to make the advanced pressure tubes. And if we take a quick look, as you can see, it has been delivered. Alright, and just like that, these guys are putting in the work. They're grabbing some of the blocks, putting it in the platform. They do their work, they'll grab the finished product and putting it over here. I did have to switch over to this program just because for some reason this one just wasn't working for a moment. But yeah, just like that, we do have our pressure tubes, which then we could grab these guys. Let's see, is it putting more in here? Yep, cool. So we'll grab them all, come over here and click on the aerial interface, and just like that, we should be able to craft up this guy, and that is one part of the device. So just like that, we now have a way to produce this guy. We already talked a little bit about the lightning upgrade orb. Now, after this PneumaticCraft stuff, we are going to get right into a little bit of create. We won't go too far in depth with it. We'll just do something very bare bone and basic. So if I come over here, create, we are going to need a wee bit of these guys. These are the empty blaze burners. If you guys don't know what this does, well, this doesn't do anything right now. However, we are going to need to go to the nether, capture a few blazes, and those blazes will turn this into the blaze burner, which just by itself can be used for the philosopher's fuel. That's the reason why I made so many. However, I do plan on making a boiler machine from create. That's why I do have an extra 9, just because I do plan on making a little 3x3x3, maybe extend it a little higher depending on what uses I'm gonna need for it. Just because if we take a quick look at the mechanical arm, I already have a process to create brass. The andesite alloy, I could just create that real quick. That's very simple. And then the brass casing, you just get the brass, right click it onto a stripped log and it turns it into this. The only thing that we do have to wait for is to make this guy. So I am going to make our little boiler machine, and then we'll make a tiny little sequence to produce these mechanisms, just because we are going to need 18 of these guys for this mechanical arm. But first, let's head on over to our base over here and grab some blazes. So after grabbing a couple of blazes, we have all our blaze burners, 18 of which are ready for the philosopher's fuel. And as for the other 9, we are going to be using them for our little create contraption. If you guys do want me to do a video on how to do the PneumaticCraft stuff from scratch instead of using the villagers, let me know. I've done some testing. I kind of know how it works, so I wouldn't mind working on that. And then we put these guys down. The reason why we are going to want some lava is because these blaze burners will actually ignite once you give it some sort of fuel. Whether it is solid or liquid, you give it to it and it'll run for X amount of time. The best fuel is using some cakes, some blaze cakes. But yeah, once you have this here, I'm going to put down, let's see, perfect. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to stick out this way. These are steam engines. Yeah, just like that. They're all lined up. And then I'm just going to put a shaft on all of them. And then just send it all the way across. And just doing something just like that will combine the rotational power of all 3 steam engines. And then wherever you want to move it to, you could just add another shaft and then bring the power wherever you need it. Okay, so what do you need for this fluid tank to start working? Well, that's pretty simple. We just need another sink and a way to give it some water. Since we do have mechanism, I am going to fully utilize this guy. However, you can always just use a normal little fluid pipe system to get water in here. Doesn't matter how you do it. I'm just more comfortable with mechanism at this point. Yeah, we just put that to insert, and after a little bit this should fill up with water. As you can see, this is now starting to pump. Let's see, one thing that would help is if I made some goggles, these guys. So we'll do that, put this on our head, and just like that we can actually see what's going on. We have a ton of water. The size is decent, could be bigger. And then the heat, well, as you can tell, since it's just running on no fuel, it is a rather poor output. Alright guys, and I am back. So, after making the boiler, I did try doing a little fluid setup using mechanical pipes, and then when that failed, I tried using applied energistics, and then when that failed, I tried using the normal fluid pipes to pump lava over here. I did set up a mechanical pump. However, even with all that, there was no fuel going into these guys. So I think there might be a little bug going on regarding giving the blaze burners a lava or any type of liquid. But what I do know is you can still give them solid fuel. So if we come over here and just right click on all of them real quick, as you can see, they all ignite. And if we take a quick look over here, as you can see, the heat and size are the limiting factors. If we were to make this bigger, this will run even smoother. But as you can see, the steam engine is producing 16,000 stress units per each one, so that's probably a combined total of roughly about 49,000 and some change, which is more than plenty for what we are going to do. So before we get started, I am gonna put this gearbox right there. We're gonna grab some more gears so we could gear ratio this just a wee bit more. So we do that, connect these guys, grab this guy, put it there, and just like this we can speed it up just a little more, just so this whole process is running pretty smoothly. And just like that, that is the fastest we can go. So if we take a quick look, what we can do is grab some shafts, bring them out a little bit, and then we put this guy, put another one, put another hammer, put another shaft, and then put one more mechanical press. And just like that, this should be able to go and do the trick. If we click over here and click on this guy, as you can see, we are going to need 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. That should get it done. And then as how we're going to get the stuff to work, we're going to put a little shaft here, put another one over here. Let's extend it a little bit more. And then we're going to connect it with a mechanical belt. And just like that, as soon as we bring some more rotational power over, everything should be, well, everything would be going if we knew how to set this up properly. You know, a little brain dead moment right there. But just like that, this will stamp each step. So to bring some more power down, you're going to be using another vertical box. We're going to put it like this. Put one of these guys, grab a gearbox. We're going to change direction and go this way. Let's see. This is going the opposite direction, so what I usually like to do is just add another shaft, put another gearbox, and then when you have 2 of them combined, oops, wrong spot. Yeah, a little mishap there. Connect that. So if we connect one of them, it's going this direction. If we add another gearbox right before it, it should alternate the direction to go where we want it to. So just like that, these guys will stamp as things go along. This will push it through. The only thing we are kind of missing is some brass funnels, just so that we can kind of automate this a little bit better. So to do that, we're going to come over here, put brass, click on this funnel. We are going to need some electron tubes, which I'm just going to make everything over here. Okay, after getting the little hammer and the little conveyor belt set up, what I did add was a couple chests. So I added 3 chests, and in front of each one I did put a brass belt, just because right here we are going to want to add a list filter, which we're going to say if it is a mechanical or a precision mechanism, we are not going to want it to come in here. So we just click deny list, click on the arrow, put it there, and just like that, if it does come out to be a mechanical or that precision mechanism, it'll let it go through and then it'll get stored in the chest. However, since it does need to get stamped 5 times through, if it's not complete, it'll get picked up and sent back to the beginning so that it can continue its journey once again. So if we come over here and take a quick look, looks like for each one of these we are going to need 5 of each cogwheel and 1 gold plate. Okay, now that I'm back and I have the right things in place, this should work. So if we give it the small cogwheel, whoops, gotta right click it onto the hand, and then we put the large ones there and then the nuggets right here. That should be ready. I am going to give this a little bit of coal just so that this can run nice and fast. So let's do that, and all we have to do is toss our gold plate right there, and just like that, it'll begin its process going through, getting stamped, getting picked up, and sent all the way around. Now let's hope that this guy is completed the first time through, just because, oh, yep, and just like that, we got our precision mechanism. The reason why I said hopefully it comes out complete is because it has an easy 80% chance of being completed and a 20% chance of being broken. So, just like that, that's how we get the precision mechanism. And then when we come over here and click it into that, we could come over here and make the mechanical arm. And just like that, we have the second piece of create that we are going to need for the Nexium emitter. Just a little FYI, this guy can be made with either the mechanical arm from create or the large advanced motor. Either or, it's your pick. Honestly, I am way more familiar with create, so I prefer to use this in place of modern industrialization. However, if you want to challenge yourself, might as well go for that guy, just because it can get a little confusing at times. But yeah, we are going to wrap up the episode just because it did take me quite a while to get all this done with all the little difficulties. So a quick little recap is we went over there to the bee area. We upgraded some of our bees to Metaternal. I added a few other bees, aka the Emerald, the Rune, the Arcane, the Source Gem, and some of these other guys. Then we came back, we worked on a little bit of PneumaticCraft, talked about how this is set up, made a few advanced pressure tubes so that we can make these aerial interfaces, which is needed for this guy. We went over how to get the blaze burners, which is just making the empty blaze burner thing and then going to the nether, or if you have a blaze setup, right clicking it to capture the blazes to turn them into a blaze burner. And then after that, we did talk about how we could create a tiny little setup like this to make the precision mechanism. This isn't the best setup. After all, this isn't getting auto-fed any coal or anything. I only did this just so that you guys have a rough idea of how you can make said items to progress in the Allthemod star. I am currently going to be building the create area just because I am waiting for your guys' response on the castle. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to head down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about it, whether I should leave the tower and or change it. I'm letting you guys make the decision. You guys got one more day. After that, I am going to just do what feels right and or we'll see. I don't know. I kind of like it, kind of don't like it. But yeah. Besides that, I did talk about why we set up the Arcane Essence B, and that is to get these runes or these blank runestones that we are going to need. In the next episode, I might show you guys my method of collecting the Bottle of Lightnings. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you guys got any suggestions and or advice, let me know down in the comments. I know this episode was a little bit wonky. It's just, I thought I knew what I was doing. I did some things and things didn't come out as I had planned. So it was a little bit of back and forth for me getting everything done. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys had any questions, hopefully this answered some of them. But if you do have any more, make sure to leave it down there. So with that, guys, until next time, peace.